Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and with me being here in this hat with a flag behind me, you know what's happened. Another country has picked their song for Eurovision 2019, this time the most recent offering coming to us from Spain by way of the Operación Triunfo Eurovision Gala night. And I see no point in delaying. They've chosen a singer called Miguel Núñez Pozo, or just Miki for short, and a song called La Venda, music and lyrics by Adrià Salas from the band La Pegatina. It's performed in Castilian Spanish, and the title means The Blindfold. It's a song about sort of positivity, you know, the repeated refrain of the blindfold has fallen off, and then there's positive vibes going on. What else can I say to introduce this song other than big energy from an energetic country? Let's get started with the review. Okay, in all fairness, I hadn't listened to any of the songs in the Spanish selection prior to the Eurovision Gala show, so take what I say with a grain of salt if you feel you need to. I had only heard through the grapevine that there were a couple of fan favourite entries and a heaping helping of Eurodrama, so when I watched the show with my parents, we were all pleasantly surprised by the entire event, all of it from start to finish, but La Venda did stand head and shoulders above its competition as far as we were concerned as members of the audience. While the other songs divided our opinions in various different ways, like there were some that my father liked, that I liked, my mother didn't, or that my mother and I liked and my father didn't, or, you know, all these different combinations, La Venda was the only one in the show that got all three of us literally just jumping and bopping, and there's a crazy infectious energy with this song. It's a fun time. In fact, we were literally, with no word of exaggeration, on the edge of our seats during the voting, and we actually deadass cheered and clapped when Miki won. We were that engrossed and enthralled, and we just generally liked this song that much. And now, here we are, with Spain sending the aforementioned charismatic chap looking like a cross between Sebalter and Rafael Golazzi, and I mean that in a very positive way indeed. And he's singing like a modern-day Ricky Martin, but still with his own identity. Ricky Martin, more like Mickey Martin. No? Okay. But even online, Spain's got people talking, and for all the right reasons. So, first off, as that little preamble might imply, this song leaves one heck of a strong first impression. When this song comes on, you absolutely know about it, and with its energy and good feelings, coupled with its memorable melody and repeated refrain, it really gets stuck in your head, admittedly for better or for worse, but still, in a way, it sort of reminds me of Moldova's song from last year, but handled so much more efficiently and so much less repetitively in a side-by-side comparison, so good job there, Spain. And speaking of congratulating Spain specifically, a point that both of my parents picked up on and that I agree on is that this song has international appeal in such a way that it can get anyone dancing whether they understand the words or not. Like, seriously, it's the sort of thing that we in Britain absolutely adore in a party setting. But, more than that, while the song does have that international appeal, especially to us Brits, but I'm just speaking as a Brit, so maybe other people like it too, I would expect so, but even beyond all of that, it doesn't compromise on its inherent Spanishness. It doesn't sell out in order to appeal to the masses, it's got the best of both worlds, appealing internationally, Spanishly. And, for that strength of appeal, I really want to say that Miki has total BDE, but I really shouldn't talk like that in these videos, there may be children watching. So I'll instead explain that it's a high-energy song that his live vocals can absolutely 100% deliver on. He can keep up with the song even with highly energetic choreography, as we saw in the Eurovision Gala performance. This song is absolutely, completely Miki's territory, and he owns it without slipping up even slightly. For that matter, his personality suits the song down to the ground as well. I described him as being charismatic before, because he puts on an inflection to his voice that he didn't have in the other song that he was competing with in the Eurovision Gala. He puts on this laddish kind of persona that suits the delivery of a confident song like this down to the ground, and he personally connects with his audience when performing it live, which is ideal not only for a song like this one, but for exactly this song, bearing in mind its message about freeing yourself from your own doubts and such, like, you know, becoming the person you want to be. He encourages you 2, let go of your inhibitions and become the person you want to be, and he leads by example, proving the efficiency of his own song. And that's genius. Still, though, you're not obligated to like the song. That is also a valid stance to take, as is feeling neutral towards the song, really. So, amongst other things, one perhaps pedantic point that I noticed is that at the Eurovision Gala, his costume just kind of consisted of casual Friday wear. I don't mean to suggest that he has to have an elaborate, over-the-top Barbara Dex Award candidate flavoured outfit. It's just, he looks a little bit like he just came in off the street, and that kind of gives the impression that he's not fully invested. I mean, we know that he is invested in the song, but just to look at him, it just looks like he skipped the wardrobe department completely. That suits the song's message, but it would be nice to tidy up this one loose end just the same. Also, and slightly more relatably, slightly more reasonably, some people might find the song's constantly driving up-tempo nature to be irritating before too long, and that's fair enough. Not everyone is of the party now and party hard inclination, and so to that sort of person, this song might well sound like 3 minutes of having noisy neighbours. So overall, the song is surprisingly Marmite in tone. That is to say, if you like it, you'll probably fall for it hard, like I have. And if you don't like it, you'll probably be very annoyed by it very easily. Or you might have no reaction to it at all. That's fine too. It's just, it seems to inspire extreme reactions from both ends of the spectrum. Like if you ask people to rate it out of 10, some people would give it a 5, some would give it a 10, and some would give it a 1. But you're not going to get any medium scores like 3 or 7. They're going to really commit one way or the other. So, even with that in mind, there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? I mean, like it or not, it gets people talking about this entry, and that can only be a good thing, can't it? But enough about what other people might rate it out of 10, how about what I would rate it out of 10? First up, my personal subjective score out of 10 just based on my personal opinion. Honestly, we're 2 songs in, so it's not exactly the optimal time to call this just yet, but so far 2019 is shaping up to be a really strong year. Spain gets a perfect 10 out of 10 from me in my opinion. Good grief, this song is so much fun! I mean, it says a lot that from the first time my parents and I heard it, it had us bopping along where we were sitting. When I was listening to it again to write this review, I couldn't help but sing along with it. Miki is a strong and capable performer who gives the right amount of positive vibes to this song, and he makes me feel everything that this song was built to convey. As far as personal opinions go, I can't fault this one. I'm in love. As for the technical score, on the other hand, where I need to be a little bit more cold and detached and clinical like a jury member, and do bear in mind that I do really love this song, I'm inclined towards a technical 8 out of 10 for this reason. Everything it does, as I've said, it does exceptionally well, and to great and effective appeal, retaining its Spanishness while getting all the other countries on board with its appeal as well. It's just that there are people who find that incessant up-tempo-ness to be inherently grating and oppressive to the point of turning them off, and there's not much that could be done about that without completely compromising on the song itself, so ignore the haters, you're doing fine. But yeah, the song gets negative reactions from some people that are as strong as the positive reactions it gets from people like me, and that is a bit of a shame, but it's good that people have differing opinions, because if we all thought the same thing, it wouldn't be a contest, you feel? Still, I firmly believe that this is an entry that Spain can absolutely be proud of, so enhorabuena? But is this a step in the right direction for Spain? Well, I'm going to go with yes, because, well, initially I was going to say no. I was going to say it was a step backwards. Bearing in mind all of the drama that I'd heard about regarding some of the Operación Triunfo competitors supposedly telling fans not to vote for them in the Eurovision Gala because they didn't want to go to Eurovision despite taking part in the Eurovision selection process. They just wanted to win OT and leave it at that. And also the seemingly random allocation of Eurovision Gala songs, with some artists getting multiple songs and some getting none, and then there was that one artist who was really outspoken about only being there because he wanted to do Eurovision, and he still only got one Eurovision Gala entry. But all of those hang-ups completely fell by the wayside when I tuned in to the Eurovision Gala and saw just how impressive the stage was, and the production values and the quality of all 10 of the final entries. it was a massive improvement over last year's standards, which was already a step up for Spain's system. They are, surprisingly, going from strength to strength, but bear in mind, in my saying this, I did only watch the Eurovision Gala show, so if you disagree with my judgment, you might be right to do so. I haven't watched it in any great detail, so maybe there's some subtleties that I'm missing by having only watched the final show. Hopefully, next year we'll have all of this year's positives in any case, with less or none of the drama. Hopefully. And would this song qualify for the final if it had to? Well, obviously, naturally, Spain doesn't need to pass the semi-finals because they're one of the big five who make it into the final automatically, but if Miki did have to face the semi-finals, I would like his chances. Obviously, it's not easy to say at this stage because we literally only know 2 of the songs at this point, but I'm reminded quite a bit of what I said about Belarus in 2017. If the hype for this song remains as high as it currently is, bearing in mind how loudly the Eurovision Gala audience was chanting La Venda a Eurovision! La Venda a Eurovision! And the fact that the whole crowd sounded like they were singing along during Miki's winning reprise, then this ought to do well enough that it would qualify if it had to. Conversely, if people do get tired of it, then perhaps its successes might waver. Still, I think the absolute worst this could do at Eurovision is like 17th or 18th, and it deserves and will probably achieve much better than that. I have great expectations for you, Spain, and so I look forward to seeing you in Tel Aviv, and hopefully on the left-hand side of that scoreboard. But what do you lovely people think? If you click the iCard in this video, you'll be able to vote on a little poll of, do you like this song, do you not, do you feel neutral? And if you have any other thoughts, leave them in the comments below. I do love interacting with people, and I love celebrating other people's opinions. But in the meantime, to Spain, I say very good luck to you, and we will see you in May.